There's one mistake homeowners make before selling that almost always feels reasonable at the time, feels responsible, feels patient, and in conversations, it often sounds like the smart thing to do. But quietly, behind the scenes, it's the mistake that costs people the most time, leverage, and often the most money. The frustrating part is that most homeowners don't realize it until the process already feels stressful. It's not pricing too high. It's not choosing the wrong realtor. It's not even the condition of the home. The biggest mistake happens much earlier than that, before selling even feels real, before timelines feel tight, before anyone feels pressure to make a decision. Most homeowners wait, and waiting feels safe. Life is busy. There are a lot of moving parts. Selling feels like something you'll deal with later, once you're sure, or things settle down, once the timing feels right. The problem is that by the time that selling feels right, the pressure has arrived. Suddenly, there's deadlines. Decisions feel heavier. Suddenly, everything feels like it needs to happen all at once. The homeowners who do best don't start when selling feels urgent. They start planning when nothing feels urgent at all. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Eric Beckers and I'm a realtor here in Ottawa. Big part of my work is helping homeowners slow down the process before it speeds up. Over the years, I've noticed the smoothest sales don't come from perfect markets or perfect homes. They come from preparation that started way earlier than most people expect. I've had countless conversations that start the same way. Someone reaches out and says, "We're not ready yet. We just want to get a sense of things." Honestly, those are my favorite conversations because there's no pressure yet. There's no deadlines, urgency, just space to think clearly. What I've learned is that the experience sellers have later almost always depends on whether they gave themselves that space early on. Here's the pattern I see over and over again. Homeowners assume preparation starts once they pick a price or once photos are booked. They think planning happens after the decision to sell is made. But by that point, many of the most important choices have already been made emotionally, without much strategy behind them. That's where the biggest mistake shows up. The planning phase gets skipped and everything jumps straight into execution mode. When that happens, leverage quietly disappears. One of the most common beliefs homeowners have is that selling is mostly about the price. Pick the right number and everything else will fall into place. That belief makes sense. A lot of people tell you it's true. Price feels concrete, feels measurable. But pricing is only effective when it's part of a much larger strategy. Without preparation, pricing becomes a guess, and once your home is on the market, guessing feels very uncomfortable. The sellers who feel confident aren't the ones who magically picked the perfect price. They're the ones who understood their position before selling. They knew their timeline, knew how flexible they were. They knew whether speed mattered more than maximizing value, or whether maximizing value was the most important factor. Those answers quietly guide every decision that follows. Yet most homeowners don't slow down enough to answer them until they're already under pressure. Preparation work is another area where homeowners often go too far or not far enough. Many people assume more work automatically means more value. Renovate this, replace that, update everything just to be safe. Sometimes that makes sense, but very often it doesn't. I've seen homeowners invest large amounts of money into upgrades that buyers barely noticed. At the same time, I've seen small strategic changes completely transform how a home shows and how buyers feel walking through it. The difference? It isn't effort, it's direction. Knowing what buyers actually care about at a specific price point in your area and at the specific time. This changes everything. That clarity doesn't come from online advice or general rules. It comes from understanding buyer behavior before your home ever hits the market. Timing is another great piece that doesn't get enough attention. Many homeowners assume the best time to sell is when everyone else is selling. It feels safer to move with the crowd. But when everyone is selling, you're competing. Buyers have more choice, negotiations shift. The strongest position often comes from understanding the market before it's crowded. Preparation gives you options. Waiting until selling feels obvious takes those options away. There's also an emotional side to selling that rarely gets talked about openly. A home isn't just a property. It's years of life. It's effort. It's memories. When sellers don't prepare early, emotions tend to drive decisions later on. Feedback feels personal. Price adjustments discouraging. Negotiations feel tense. The sellers who give themselves the time are able to separate emotion from strategy. That separation alone leads to much better outcomes. The homeowners who do best in every market aren't rushing to get sold. They understand their numbers, they understand the options, and they understand their leverage. They know what their home needs and, just as importantly, what it doesn't need. When the time comes to list, it doesn't feel chaotic or overwhelming. It's intentional and feels controlled. Selling a home shouldn't feel like a scramble. Shouldn't feel like you're reacting to headlines or pressure or fear of missing out. This should feel thought out. feel aligned with what you actually want to do next. And that only happens when preparation starts earlier than most people expect. For Ottawa homeowners who expect a seamless sale, this is where the biggest advantage is created. Waiting until selling feels urgent is the mistake. Giving yourself time while things feel calm is what changes the entire experience for everybody involved. If you want help talking through what preparation looks like for your specific situation, I offer a no-obligation consultation. Simply a conversation about your timeline, your goals, and what makes sense for your home. There's no pressure, no commitment. You can book a consultation using the link below in the description. If this video helped put things into perspective, make sure to go like it, subscribe for more Ottawa real estate guidance, and I'll see you in the next video.